free to ask me questions too. It's a conversation. This is not therapy. This is not therapy. Okay. Welcome to the channel Strip, where we channel our energy into learning new things and strip away negative misconceptions. I have Divine.
Yeah. Kiokio.
Kiokio.
Yeah.
Okay, so Divine Kiokio.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you very much for agreeing. And this is gonna be exciting. This is my first interview. I've tried to interview someone,
wow.
but he's cancelled on me like 7 times. In fact, this time he's super busy. Shout out to you. And we're gonna get him eventually. But thank you so much for agreeing and making this so easy to organize.
Yeah.
And working with my schedule and working with my cancellations. You've been really good.
Wait, you didn't cancel.
But I was late.
It's better than canceling.
This is true. So let's start with Divine Kiokio.
Yeah, that's correct.
What's that surname from?
It's Congolese.
All right.
Well, it's a rare Congolese last name. I actually was like digging my roots when I went back home. It's African family belong, and I actually found out like my great grandparents on my dad's side they were actually from Cameroon.
Wow.
So they like I don't know what happened, but they just ended up in the village in the Congo.
Okay.
And then like my mom was obviously Congolese, and then it just happened.
Wow.
But I didn't know this till like three years ago. So.
And I know you went back home, but how long did you stay? Because to me, from Instagram, you think you were there a while.
Yeah, I usually go for a month minimum.
Okay.
It's an expensive flight.
It is an expensive flight.
Yeah.
How did you manage that with work? So tell us, where do you work? What do you do?
Yeah, so I transitioned to a couple of things. So after graduating in 2018, so I went to as in like process technician. Okay. But it's not as prestigious as it sounds. It was just like you're part of like the manufacturing of drug active ingredients. But it also was like night shift, day shift. But the good thing about shift was then like you're not working every day, like you're not 9 to 5. So some days you only work twice a week. And then it's rotating between two times a week and then 5 times the following week. But on average then, like when you take like 2 holidays, like 2 days worth of holidays, you can actually get a week out of it. So say if this week I'm only working Wednesday and Thursday, if I book those 2 days up, I'm off the entire week.
Oh wow, so nice. That's how you managed to. So when you took your leave, you were only like taking really a couple of days here and there.
Yeah, like when I take 10 days off, that can give me 3.5 weeks.
Must be nice for some.
It was, yeah.
I cannot relate to that at all.
But the night shift was painful though.
Yeah, night shift is.
But then I took a career break, so that's why I was able to go. I think I even went for 6 weeks. Yeah, that was last year.
Were you getting paid during that time?
No, I saved so I can.
So you could do that.
Yeah, so I can do that.
Amazing. And when you went home, you were doing a bunch of work.
Yeah.
Tell us about your work that you were doing.
So it just started like before I went back home. Yeah. So I was, aside from my job, I tutor. So I just work with kids, but that was privately. That was one-to-one. But I've been doing it for so long that I feel like I like to level up in my life. So I was like, maybe try and like teach like group of students because you want to have so many people. Yeah. You can only accommodate one. Yeah. And then when it comes to group people, we're kind of like reluctant, maybe they're skeptical that does it work or not. But then when you find like a way to make it work, so it was new to me as well. Like I learned how to do like group tuition, and then when I went back home, I was just like my mom was involved with like humanitarian initiatives. Right. So one time I just went to like, she asked me to go with her just to volunteer and to see what it's like. And you just, the way you see like, it just makes you, it really puts things into perspective, you know? Absolutely. You just realize how fortunate we are. Absolutely. Yeah, so that was kind of the start of everything.
So I don't know why I keep saying absolutely like I've been back myself. I have not. And my
Have you not been back yet?
I mean I was back once when I was 16 to Nigeria.
16, yeah.
Yeah, and that was a fantastic experience, but it was very much a holiday. We didn't do
It's different set of eyes.
Yeah, we didn't really do. I mean, yes, it was enlightening to see people's lifestyle. And I remember when I came back to Ireland, I would get up consistently at 4 a.m. for like
Why?
the first month. Because when I went to Nigeria, everybody's hustling.
Okay.
The grind was intense. So I came back here jobless at 16, not really clear yet on my goal. And I was like, I just need to get up and hustle because, it just refreshed this sense of go, 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 because everybody else back there was doing it. These guys were getting up early in the morning just to even beat the traffic.
I know what you mean.
So it just felt like, wow, so much opportunity is just being given to me.
Yeah.
And, well, first of all, before I left, I didn't even see them as opportunity. It was just the way of life. But then you come back here and like, oh, this is opportunity.
You were 16.
I was 16. I mean, even then I was driven, but coming back drove me in a new way. It was like, I gotta take advantage of everything that's available to me here, because other people would literally kill somebody else for it.
Literally.
So it's kind of scary how good we've got it.
I know what you mean, but you can still be driven and still not like, that doesn't really like appeal to you at the same time. That's why, because when I was 16, when I went back home as well, it wasn't like this. But I know
what do you mean?
Driven. Like, I was selfish basically.
You were driven before yourself.
Yeah, I was driven for myself, exactly.
Yeah.
How do I get to where I want to be?
Yeah.
But not to like, then when you turn 20 onwards, you're like, how do you, I send the elevator back down? With your sister, podcast.
Yeah, I'm taking my little sister, she's behind the camera right now. I'm trying to broaden her experience.
Yeah. So that's the best form of getting. It's just like
100%. I'm not gonna lie to you though. I think there's a place for selfish ambition.
There is. Yeah.
Ooh, I say that with a pinch of salt because I know that statement gonna be taken and pulled apart. But what I mean to say is, I remember, I must find this quote on my Facebook back in the days. I posted this on Facebook and I was like, you can't help nobody if you don't help yourself.
Yeah.
A poor man cannot pull a poor man out of nowhere. The blind cannot lead the blind. So there is a place, a very soft landing place, a very particular place, a very short-term place for grinding, for you. In knowing fully well that you will give back later, but you really gotta put in some hard hours to pull yourself out of your personal gutter in order to pull somebody else out. And you know what, actually I stand by that statement, because as much as now I'm trying to give back in different ways. Say for example, before we got on camera, I'd mentioned that, I thought I wouldn't talk about this, but anyway, I'd mentioned that I was starting therapy. And in a way I can function the way I am, right? I don't have to do this work. But if I do the work, I will be in a place to help somebody else emotionally, and they may not have to spend X amount of euros, hundreds of euros on a personal, therapist, because I might have some certain skills that I've taken from that experience that I can then give to them free of charge.
That's amazing. I mean, that's how it works. You're right. There is like some selfish motives behind it, but it's called like capitalist greed, as in when greed can be good, because like say if you created a business and you want to expand, you want to make more money. So as part of the expansion, you're gonna hire more people.
100%.
That's helping.
100%. And quite frankly, with the way Ireland is set up, sometimes the welfare system kills motivation.
It does.
Because sometimes you do the maths and you're like, it makes financial sense to sit at home and do nothing. And for anyone who hears me say that, I don't encourage this. But I do have to say, I've spoken to young people who take a summer job and get burnt by Susie the following year.
Yeah.
Because they literally did a low minimum wage job for 3 months, go back to school, and Susie are like, oh yeah, you can now support yourself.
Yeah.
How does that motivate them?
I think when it comes to that, there's just like gap, as in You know when they have like the threshold,
the threshold.
Give you money if you go certain this amount.
Yeah.
But then even when you go by that certain amount, say by 500, Susie cut you, but 500 is not enough.
It's not enough. No, it's not gonna cover you. I know they have to have an inclusion criteria and an exclusion criteria. They have to have this is where we help and this is where, but like it needs to be way more multifactorial.
Yeah.
Like there should be rules where if you make X amount of money within the summer months, we're not gonna even touch that because you're encouraging poverty as far as I'm concerned. Now I know someone even at the moment who realized that it didn't make sense because she's not gonna make enough ever to cover her college fees.
Yeah.
So her second summer she decides, right, I'm gonna stay home the whole summer and not work because if I work, I won't make enough to cover my fees. I won't get the Susie. It's like a lose-lose.
Wait, when I was in college, I was getting Susie, but I was also able to work in summer.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't like go into the details of it, but this is what I'm told.
Yeah.
You know, and even say for myself, I took about 3 weeks of sick leave, 1 week of annual leave, 2 weeks sick leave, and I did all the forms to get my sick pay.
Yeah.
Got a letter back saying I hadn't paid enough tax, and I nearly lost it. I was like, I broke my back for these people. I actually got sick because of these people.
Yeah.
And I don't pay enough tax. You guys take like way more than half of my paycheck. What are you talking about? Yeah. I didn't pay enough tax? Are you joking? Like, I read that letter going, my eyes nearly dropped. I was like, I don't pay enough. Me? Like, have you seen my paycheck? Over 50% goes to these people, deductions. And then you turn around and tell me that I didn't do enough of that. Like, it's like stay poor or work and really, really, really work because, you know, the middle class guys are not surviving. That's just the truth.
Yeah, there is no middle. You're either here or just down.
Sadly.
That's kind of how it is. But that should encourage you as well, like, you know.
Oh, 100%, bro.
To hustle.
Oh, man. I saw that letter and said, these people want to keep me here. Ain't no way. Hey, I got to leave this 9 to 5. Well, I don't even do 9 to 5. I do more than that. But, like, this grind, I got to grind it out because it's not easy. But you know what? Working and trying to make a living off your... I mean, everybody knows this at this point. It's all social media talks about these days. Have a side hustle because everybody knows that your normal day job is not enough because if you get sick, you know, you might not have the cover, or the fact that you have to come in every day in order to make a paycheck is simply not good enough. But going from knowing that to actually having something that pays you, there's a divide there.
Yeah, it depends, like kind of like how bad do you want it? Because like, at the same time, like, you know, we live in a crazy time where there's like more opportunities than ever in history. Like you have access to like the whole world in like an instant. I mean,
you can sell to a man in India from Ireland.
You know, like you can teach someone like how to dance like hundreds, thousands of kilometers away from you. Yeah. That you never even have to meet, and they just pay you like that. And you can even make money from things that like you created already, like maybe like a course or something like that, and just put it in the world. You never have to do it. It's just passive. Yeah.
Love that you said that word. So we all know about passive. Well, I hope we all know about passive income. But something that you're kind of going on about is passive teaching. We're moving backwards in the conversation where you had mentioned that you kind of realized that teaching one student was great, but you could teach
more. Yeah.
So passive education, from the lens of the teacher, what does that look like, and what is that?
Yeah, like when it comes to education, like there's nothing passive about it.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, because like education is like active, you know. You actually it requires effort, both ends. But it's sort of the same as it used to be. It was, or it still is, like a means for me to make passive income. But I don't think it's so passive really. But on top of that, it wasn't also about me because I'm just teaching my kid getting paid. But then I was like, what about like, let's say my own community? Because sometimes like, when you do this, you kind of have to look back. Like, to be honest, like when I was in school, I wouldn't be able to afford a tutor. So I wouldn't even think of like putting my family in that, like, you know, like in that predicament to begin with. So then I was like, how do I fix that then? Is there something I can do about it? Like, I was like, so it's just those things that I just like, just had a question, like,
Yeah.
like just,
How can I solve this
yeah,
this gap, I suppose? So I hear what you're saying. Education isn't passive for both parties, and I actually agree with that statement. And I guess what I was trying to badly ask you is, you kind of went one-on-one isn't hitting the right numbers. How do I scale my teaching?
Yeah.
So tell us about Toso Grinds and what is Toso Grinds?
Toso grind happens during my quarter life crisis.
Wow. Okay, so are you still expecting midlife crisis?
I hope so. I hope beyond that.
Wait. You hope to have a midlife crisis?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
There's meanings in crisis.
Right. Ooh. That's facts.
Yeah, I mean, you only learn more from the bottom.
100%. I have had my share forms of crises.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, every time when you come out of that horrible phase, something so magical happens.
Exactly. It changes you for good.
100%. It changes you for good if you have the right skills to survive it in the right way.
Exactly.
But anyway, let's not deviate too much. Toso Grinds.
Yeah, so there was a time when, like, my job, so it got to a stage where, you know, when you get really good at your job, that you don't have to think about it anymore. Not to say I was really good, but it got to a stage where it wasn't challenging anymore.
Sure.
But like, I come from like a learning background. Like, I like to learn. That's just the way like my brain's built. I like to like try new things.
Yeah.
And if I feel like this is not challenging enough, like, then I'll just feel like, I'm just going down.
Yeah.
So that was when I, having said that, it took me like just nearly 4 years to realize that. But when it happened, like, I just decided like, I wasn't gonna switch jobs, but I was like, before I switch a job, like, I'm gonna take time out for myself. And it wasn't so for myself, it was something to try to like create like more meanings for like my life. Or just like, not that I didn't have meanings, it did, but like, I wanted to create more, just like pursue like what am I really passionate about. Like, what would like motivate me to like just get going and then just keep doing it without like worrying about time. So I've always loved teaching, but I thought like I would do it later on in life. But then like going back home as well, just seeing like the humanitarian, just like a way of giving back. So then I was like, okay, I know how these two things like move me. I just wanted to find a blend. How do I put the two together? And that's when like I just had those like two possibilities. Or
So humanitarianism and education.
Education, yeah.
And I believe that both work hand in hand. One solves the other, and vice versa. Well, not vice versa, but definitely propels solutions anyway.
Yeah, it's just really meaningful causes, and it's like meaningful to me. So just crazy how when you really care about something, when you just put it out in the universe, and then your mind is when you sleep, and just things start like connecting.
100%.
And then it just happened, and just put it together. It's just like, hey, how about like we set up like a platform, an initiative where we just promote equal like educational opportunities. And just make grinds completely free.
Yeah.
And like,
completely free is extremely ambitious.
it is, well, they say dream big, right?
Right, 100%. Yeah. Toaster Grinds, where does the name come from?
So that comes from those two components of it, like the humanitarianism and the education. So to teach one is you're teaching someone. Save one is the humanitarian aspect of it. So you're giving back as well. So you're helping a kid here, but you're also helping a kid like in like poverty-stricken countries like the Congo. But I want to get to like more countries eventually. I think that's in the work. Well, that's how it came about. Like you just.
So what exactly do you do? Do you do grinds in Ireland or do you do grinds in the Congo?
Okay. Yeah, I suppose I should probably explain that. Sorry, it's just a lot into it.
There's a lot.
There's so much into it. So basically, the mission is we didn't want to, we saw this poverty in the Congo or in other countries as well. We didn't just want to, when I say we, I didn't just want to, because it's a small team.
Yeah, fair.
I didn't just want to come to Ireland and just ask people for money. But it's for the kids back home. that kind of gets played out, you know. There's already so many people doing that trying to get money from you. But how about you offer me something? How about you help me too, rather than just asking me for money? So the idea was that I can help your kids, and we can help kids here as well. It's not that they don't need help as well. It's not just Africa. So I help kids here, and we just help them like. So it's just like teaching them like in groups, completely for free, just before the exams.
Right.
And those lessons like really help, makes a difference.
Yeah, 100%.
And then at the same time, we just like
they pay.
No, kids don't pay. So that's what I mean. It's long.
So the kids aren't paying.
So the kids aren't paying. So what I did was that it was, to be honest, I didn't have all the answers.
Sure.
So as I just put things in motion, that's when I kind of started to get like some solution.
Right.
So like you said, to make it completely free is really extremely ambitious.
Yeah.
And to even make it like, you know, sustainable.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so there's a lot that goes into it.
Okay.
So kids don't pay because otherwise it wouldn't be toasted. Otherwise it's not helping if I'm charging.
Sure.
Well, that's not true.
But you know, the kids who really need the grants, who can't afford it,
exactly.
don't have a solution. Yeah.
Exactly. So, kids don't pay, so it's completely free. What we do is like you can host like a bunch of like charitable like initiatives, like fundraising. Like I had like a GoFundMe where people actually donated money.
Y'all better be hearing that.
Some people donate money, and the money was like to support kids. In a way, they're actually paying for the kids that are taking the grants. Yeah. But also that money is used then to like give back to kids in the Congo.
So it's a charity essentially.
It is, yeah. We're in the process of like getting the charity status.
All right.
So
amazing.
Hopefully we'll have it in the next couple of months.
And have you looked into getting funding in Ireland? Yeah,
that's the thing. So you kind of have to, like this is like the second year doing this. To be honest, it never occurred to me.
Okay.
There is so much into it. I was so focused into teaching because I teach like most of the subject myself. Yeah. And then we have like other people that I help along. Yeah. We're Josh. So shout out to Josh.
Shout out to Josh. Josh is an amazing human being. Okay.
So when we get a team and then like when we get a charity status basically.
You'll be able to apply for stuff.
Yeah, it becomes easier then to
access some funds.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so is this really just grants just before exams? So it's not like a continuously available grants.
Yeah, we want to get to that stage.
Of course, but we have to start small.
Yeah, so that's all dependence on like resources.
100%. 100%.
So, like I was doing so much, and then I have my life as well.
Of course, yeah.
So, I just thinking like
sustainability. Yeah, exactly.
So, but we're in touch with like some like universities, certain places like companies that are actually willing to help us like get tutors in. Yeah. So that way we'll be able to get to a stage where it's continuous from the get-go.
Yes.
But now it's more so closer to exam time. So say 6 weeks before the marks.
Okay.
And then 6 weeks before the leaving cert.
Sure.
So they get at least like 12 sessions.
Okay.
And students, like, it does make like a big difference. It's 100%. Like a crash course then.
It's a crash course right before exams.
Right before exams.
At the moment, that's the model.
Yeah, like 6 weeks before the marks and before the exam. So you get like 12 weeks out of the year for those points. So
what happens if the tutor can't commit to 12 weeks?
That's the thing. So like we have like other tutors to fill in. Like initially, before we actually do the whole thing, I'm in touch with the tutors. Say, what can you do? You know, and when they make the commitment, to be fair, they actually stick with it. So they just tell me, this week's work for me, this week's work for me, and we're okay to go ahead. So it hasn't happened often where the tutors can't make it, but they can't commit to 12 weeks. But if that does happen, like last year it happened a couple of times. So just get all the tutors then, like, and sometimes I just pay them. You know, cause I just pay them like. It could be from the money we got from the donations, or it could be from our own pocket. We just pay them just to get the classes done.
Well, I definitely want to be involved, so I'm committing myself. But I actually would love to teach.
You're more than welcome to. We're looking for people.
But the thing is, I don't know about 12 weeks. That's a long time for a 12. I can't do maths.
No, it's
That's 3 months.
Yeah,
that's a long time.
So the goal is next year.
Yeah.
So this upcoming academic year.
Yeah.
So we want to do like a rotation. So say if we have 3 people that want to do like leading to high level maths.
Yeah.
That means you only have to do one class every 3rd week.
Okay, nice.
You know, so.
And there's a schedule, so you just take your chapter.
Exactly. So
and I love teaching. It's fun.
But realistically, we don't have.
Let's not lie. It's too with everything, with my job and everything else I'm doing. I'd be disappointing you if I said I'd commit to it. But let's talk about that off camera, and we can start out the details. But 100%, I want to be there because I went to a deaf school.
Yeah.
I did the Limisa twice.
Yeah.
I know exactly how difficult it is to genuinely want to do good and not be in a position to do good because, well, your teachers are not, the circumstances, the teachers are not in a position to teach you because they're dealing with challenging behaviors. The teachers are not able to because, not gonna lie, they are lazy. They're used to students who are not interested in teaching and they have de-skilled because the bare minimum is acceptable. And then when they find someone who is willing to push, they actually can't help them. And I personally...
Shout out to the teachers that actually do it the right way.
Shout out to the teachers that do it the right way. Some of them do, but a lot of times they don't.
Yeah,
a lot of times they don't.
I hear crazy stories.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't want to come here and pretend like teachers are amazing. And I'm gonna get backlash for that possibly. Teachers are amazing. However, the schools and the DESH environments are particularly suffering from different type of pressures, and I'm sure the teachers also feel this pressure. But for me personally, I've had teachers tell me, "Don't do high level."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like if a student wants to learn, encourage them for the love of God. Don't kill it. And if they have the drive, give them the book and tell them to figure it out for the love of God. Don't tell them to their face, "Yeah, don't do that."
Exactly.
Don't kill the vibes. I don't know about all of that. Anyway, we're not here to bash anyone. This is supposed to be an uplifting space.
No, you're right.
But we can't pretend like this stuff doesn't happen. I've had people tell me, "You're not going to be this. You're not going to achieve this. Don't study this subject. Don't go to this college." And for me, that fueled me to do better. But not every kid responds that way.
No, exactly. That's kind of... Funny you say that. I was reading a book last... a couple of weeks ago. It's from like this great guy, he's like an education reformer. This is Ken Robinson, and he talks about like what education actually means. Education, like I think it comes from the Latin word like educus or something like that, and it means to draw out like the individual. So like when you're educating someone, it's not just like one way. It's like you're adapting to their way of learning, and then you want to bring out the best in them. So what we're going to tell you can't do this, don't do this, I'm killing it.
You're killing the vibes. You're really stumbling upon a potential flower.
Yeah.
In my perception on education, and forget education, on learning, is everyone can do it at their own pace.
Definitely.
That is my belief.
The coolest thing, what I love about tutoring is you get to...
I love how he's talking and he's smiling. That's how you know he really loves this stuff. But anyway, go on.
It's crazy. It's like you get to learn. Like over the years, I figure, oh my God, I was doing this wrong. I get to learn how other people learn. And then I can use that then to like, it's like how AI works. It's just you're collecting all this data. And then I'm trying to cater it for the next person. So I get to learn how other students learn, and I know how to
teach better.
And how to reach them, make it relatable to them.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm making it like it's the same outfit, but I'm trying to get your size, like what your style, what you like, just to deliver to that person and then make it adjustable. And then the best thing they can always say was like, that's actually easy. Let's say that.
And you teach maths.
Yeah.
I hate maths, bro. I can't count to save my life. What is that like?
At first, like, I didn't like trust myself enough for it, because you're right. Living with maths is no joke.
Calculus. Differentiation. Actually, it's not funny at all.
Every lesson, I learned something too myself, you know. So it was really over the years, it just got better, and it just got way easier. So like, the more I teach it, the more just like it just strengthens my own understanding of it. Because like they say that like if you understand something, then I can explain it to you like in simple terms.
100%.
Whereas if I'm just making it complicated, like
you don't really know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The mark of understanding is explanation.
Exactly.
100%.
So that's where I learned to be good explanations. Then you have to explain in a way that the person
Understands.
It speaks to them.
Yeah.
So, but teaching high level maths is great because I don't know like what's more rewarding. Not a lot of things are rewarding because like you're bringing something out of people. Like, a student could say to you like I'm really struggling with trigonometry. And like you have an opportunity to like teach them trigonometry because if you deep it, it's like a new concept, just like teaching a baby how to walk. You don't forget those, and they never forget it. Like,
bro, I can never talk about trigonometry and smile like this. It ain't possible. So I appreciate the love of mathematics. But recently we were doing some renovations in the house, and I'm like, damn, if only I had listened in A squared plus B squared equals C squared, I could fit this shelf today.
That's it.
But no, I can't. So
you just make it relatable. Possible.
Yeah, 100%.
That's the key.
Yeah, 100%. Relatability.
When am I ever gonna use this? How is this like useful for me? But then when you just make it fun, relatable, that's when it gets easier.
So I'm gonna ask a wild question, but how is trigonometry relatable?
Trigonometry, how's it relatable? It'd be like
give me an example in my world that I could understand. Or in like everyday life that anybody else could understand. How genuinely, because you see memes on Instagram and people are like, where's that teacher that told me that photosynthesis is da-da-da?
Okay, so what do you say in the cinema, when you go to the cinema?
Sure.
Like what do you sit at? Do you sit at the top, mid?
I usually sit at the very back.
You sit at the very back?
Yeah, because I like being away from the screen.
Yeah, why is that? What way is your neck like?
What way is my neck like?
So if you're sitting at the front, like...
If you're sitting at the front, you're going to lean a little bit like that, a little bit.
That's going to strain your neck, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what you just did, you use trigonometry, because when you're sitting at the front, you have like a greater angle of elevation.
Okay.
So looking up, you just realize that like, I learned this in trigonometry. You're direct. It's easier. That's why you do it.
Okay.
You do it without realizing.
Yeah. The angle of elevation. Love that. Yes, sir. Makes sense. So Toaster Grinds, is that the same? I don't want to say brand, but is that the same work you were doing in Congo, or is your mom has a foundation?
Yeah, she has an NGO like registered in the Congo. Okay. Yeah, so it was like, I mean, in a way they are affiliated, but to be honest, like Toaster is its own thing.
100%.
Yeah. Because like the vision is like slightly different.
Slightly different. Yeah. So what's mom's vision? She so it's called Help Me Sunanga, so it's really great. I mean, there wouldn't be Toaster without it. Wow, love that.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the moms who literally make us into the adults we are today, right? Who form us, really.
Don't make excuses, just make the most of whatever they got.
Yeah.
She's like a care assistant, like here. Right. And like with the bare minimum she makes, she was still able to like, and her schedule's crazy, and she's still able to like set up something like that just to give back. So like damn.
So in what way do they give back?
Oh, so in that way, like where she has like the clients she works with here, because she just goes from homes to homes, taking care of old people and stuff. And if they have old clothes that they want to get rid of, they give it to her. She just collects that. She collects all of that. And then, because she's also a preacher as well, so she just started preaching a couple of years ago, and they can organize like few like events like. So they can get some funding, and then she will use that then to help like widows in the Congo to like set up like businesses. Like you can just sell the clothes and stuff. The clothes, and you can sell food. So you to just become self-sufficient. Yeah. So I mean that's amazing to do that, just to have like the initiatives. So I respect that a lot. Yeah. But Toaster was more so just like with kids. It's just something like I wanted to grow, I just wanted to like build.
Do your own thing, yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And then, because the goal of Tulsa is be like to work with not just one charity, but also to work with like another charity in Nigeria, another charity in like Angola. So you want to be able to just
a global initiative. Yeah, I love it, and I believe you'll reach the goal. Surely, slowly but surely, you will. Especially, I'm hoping that people who watch this want to pump money into the GoFundMe or just reach out to his Instagram. I'll put all the details to just see how they can support, be a teacher, or maybe financially support the growth, because there's a gap in Ireland. For this, there's a gap worldwide, but there's we definitely have to start in our own community.
Definitely.
All the kids. I mean, the kids who go to private schools are doing fine. A lot of the times, if you look at the history of the kids who are getting 625 points, a lot of them are in grinds for 2 years straight per subject. Per the subject. Every single subject is a grinds for it. Their parents are paying $3,000 per subject per semester of a year. So they have, and then they go to private school on top of all of that. So they've given every opportunity to excel, and that's fantastic for them. But then there's the kids in the desk school who's facing, don't be doing the high level subject, don't bother yourself. The gap is huge. And of course, even the kid in the desk school is obviously better off than the kid in Africa who school is striking. They don't even go to class. Of course it's better, but it doesn't mean that there's not a gap to make things, more equalized.
And that's the whole goal, because we when you come from like schools, like you went from desk schools, like when you come from like they call that the social or economically disadvantaged backgrounds, like what it's like.
100% you know what it's like.
So, but whereas when someone in a private school, they might not know what it's like, because they don't actually know it exists.
100%. Now that you say that, there's a story that I've wanted to share for a bare time, and I've not had the time to. I was in third year of medical school. A kid, well, when I say a kid, I mean a fully grown adult, because I did postgraduate medicine, so we're all adults, we're all at least 22. The youngest was probably 23 at any stage. So this young man, we're in a discussion about money and access and privilege. Mind you, this is the son of I don't want to say the specialty because he might be watching this at some point, but this is, and I don't want people to be able to identify him, but this is the son of a surgeon in America. So this is someone who's been through good schools all their life, has been through undergrad, well taken care of, is in Ireland studying medicine, from a well-off background. And he's telling me, we're talking about money. And this guy literally says, there's no excuse for anybody with investing in stocks. At this point, we can all learn this stuff on YouTube. And all you have to do is put like $20 or something. Maybe he said 20 to 50, I don't know. On whatever index fund and let it sit there. And there's just no excuse to be able to, live this financially free life. And I looked at him and I said, you are so far off. Because it's one thing to have knowledge available on YouTube. It's another thing to have disposable income.
It is.
To be able to throw and invest in when you are a student. And I remember thinking to myself, the 20 euros you just mentioned, that is chicken change for investing, is my lunch money for the week.
He can afford to lose that.
You can lose that. You can put that on a stock investment thingy and let it crash or let it go up and be a millionaire in 10 years. I eat with that money.
Yeah.
That's my food money.
Definitely.
And I don't even get that fully all the time. Sometimes that goes to 15 if things are rough. Do you know what I mean? And I'm looking at this guy go, yeah, it's free available information on YouTube. I'm like, you don't even understand the gap in resources that people are facing. I mean, we're both in the same class. Well, no, sorry, he was in final med at that point, but we're both in the same course, right? You would think we have the same level of privilege and access. But again, the gap is so huge. And I remember that day I said to him, and I hope this doesn't transpire to be the case, but I was trying to make a point, and I was like, you're on this pedestal right now where your parents put you on, where you can put lunch money into investing, what you consider to be lunch money anyway, into investing, because $20 is chicken change to you. I said, your kids, you can just imagine the platform they're going to be on. By the time you take everything your parents have given you, standing on their shoulders, your kids are going to be investing 200 euros per the week, because hello, daddy's gonna be even better off, and maybe because of I know this guy. This guy's amazing. This is just a gap in his knowledge as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But he's the type of person where I genuinely believe his kids will be doing very well because he will teach them to be doing very well. Do you know?
That's what I was taught.
Because that's what that was taught to him. So his kids at the point where they're going to college might even have a small business. I wouldn't be surprised because he will set them up in such a way that, do you know what I mean? And I was like, your kids will be able to do that. But I'm saying the time you're spending here, where your kids are investing 200, somebody else is spending all those years catching up to where you are, bro. And so that they're at the level that your kids are starting off at. Like, that's like 30 years of hard work, 30 years of grinding, saving, having an investment fund, having a pension put aside, having an insurance for when you're sick. All of this work that your parents have already done.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
30 years. That's a 30-year wealth gap. That's not something that you just wake up and just because I'm a doctor, I just have. Bro, it ain't like that. That's years of putting things in place.
so you're playing.
We're not starting. We're playing catch up, bro. It's not the same level field. So his kids might be starting off in a place where they can invest 200 euros because they have a business that is literally pumping money, or the dad has put a foundation in their name, or the dad has set up a company that is in their name and they get this. It's not even mommy and daddy's money. It's my company that was gifted to me money. Do you know?
Yeah.
Whereas other people's kids, it's just not the case.
Like.
It's not the case.
Like you said, the gap in knowledge is just because when you get to uni or wherever you end up to, when you run into these people, like there's this thing that say like, just because we got here doesn't mean we came through the same door.
No, we did not.
Yeah, some of us even just came the back door.
Bro, the backest of the back. So the backest of the back.
Like the darkest hand.
Bro.
Yeah, like just because I'm here doesn't mean.
It doesn't mean shit, bro.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about privilege is you only know until it's taken away from you. As long as it's not taken from him, he's never going to understand.
He's never going to understand. And to be honest with that conversation ended not in the place of he'd gained this new perspective. Yeah, I don't think he'd gained nothing. It was still very much an ad and all this information is available for free.
Yeah. It's one of those like, you don't miss someone you never met. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, I love what you said. Privilege is not always until you take it away. It's like everybody says it. When you have a blocked nose, that's when you know that the nose is good in the first instance.
Yeah.
If you don't experience that blocked nose where you're like, I can't breathe, you ain't never gonna know that you had a good nose to start with. Exactly. It's unfortunate, but that's life. I'm feeling like wrapping up this area, but essentially, teaching is really important. And for anyone who's in any position to teach somebody, whether it be their neighbor, whether it be their friend, whether it be their sibling, I encourage us all to teach one, save one. It's a fantastic philosophy. In medicine, we have a phrase called see one, do one, teach one, which is the philosophy how medical education runs. You observe a doctor take a history, then you do a history yourself, and then you teach another student who's younger than you a history. And it's supposed to be the full cycle of education because you see it being done, you experience it yourself, and then you teach it. It's supposed to complete the loop. And honestly, I've been through medical education and I'm still in medical education and it works. It works.
That's the circle of life.
It's the circle of life, right?
That's how you keep things in continuity.
Yeah.
Well, what I want to say is like, the thing about education is that like, there hasn't been a time where we badly need it more than before, especially in like the African community. Because there's a lot of dangerous stuff out there. The world is crazy. There's so much distraction. There's so many ways to just keep the brain numb. And they're just feeding people into it. And then like, it gets to a state where like, what we consider as like valuable or like people we look up to completely change to like dangerous level. Like people we respect. Back in the days, like, it used to be like, when you think of like the civil rights movements, like what black people had to go through. Like, what kind of leaders do you think? You think like
Malcolm X.
And he was like an intelligent guy.
An intelligent man, Martin Luther King.
And he was a preacher. But now, who do you...
Cardi B, baby.
See what I mean? No disrespect.
No disrespect, but it's not great.
Like,
God forgive me. Please don't cuss me.
Like, what's that? What message? Like, are you sending? And then it just gets like dumber and dumber.
Bro, I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting that.
I mean, but I used to want to have a lot of kids when I was young, but I just have one. But I'd be cool if I have another kid again, because like, frankly, this is not the world you want to bring a kid to. They're just so much out of control.
Yeah.
And people are just so close-minded in a time where you actually can afford to be so open-minded without being killed.
Yeah.
So,
right. I
really need to like reshift, like.
We need to reshift a lot of things. And that's what the channel strip is about, my YouTube. My phrase is the channel strip, where we channel our energy into learning new things and strip away negative misconceptions. Yeah. And the whole idea is, it takes quite a lot of energy to learn.
Yeah.
I don't want to say exhausting, because that's a negative thing, but it is energy consuming.
Yeah.
And B, we all have misconceptions. God knows where we picked it up from. Half the time I'm like, where did this talk from? Where did it originate from? Who told me this? Where did I pick it up from? It actually makes me sometimes it makes me sad, because I'm like, I don't think this is something that I internalized myself. Somebody somewhere told me this, maybe I was 2, and they said it, and it went inside my head, and now I believe it to be true. I can't even remember who it was. But anyway, we need to strip these things back. And I think we came to Earth perfect and whole. And then we got shot on by everybody, everywhere, from multiple angles, just like vomiting crap on you. And you just have to spend your adulthood wiping off the stains of traumatic words, experiences, relationships, all sorts.
Care about it, because those childhood traumatic experiences, like for some people, like it can make or break you.
100% it does.
And they say like form follows function. It's the thing, because if you grow up in just like a chaotic environment, like you're gonna repeat the cycle.
If you don't break it.
Unless you work on yourself. When you function properly, then the form will follow. Then like you set a better example. And that's how you break out of those like
100%
cycles. But I really fear for like the black community and just most community. It's just because our role models, just influencers. Again, like anyone can become an influencer. Again, no disrespect. But
can we as a society define an influencer, please?
That's the thing, the spectrum is so broad.
It's so broad.
So where are we setting our standards?
We don't have them. It's like we go to college, we get a degree, and we have a thing, and we have a job. And it protects you because there's a predefined, like a scientist, this is what you do. A dietitian, this is what you do. A nutritionist, and an influencer. I mean, what does that even mean half the time?
Like, if you make it like great, but it doesn't mean not to follow influencers. Like, you can entertain it, but you shouldn't follow it. You know what I mean? Because like we have like bigger issues to deal with.
Right.
And that's all it is. Like, it's entertainment. Oh, look how they eat.
Can I bring something up?
Yeah, of course.
You said you have a fear for the black community.
I just have fear for life, for everyone.
Right, said for life. But on the matter of black people and fear and stuff like that, like this is gonna be outdated by the time I post this, but 2 days ago I posted on my Instagram, "Men are good." Everybody laughed at that mine. Because that didn't sit right. But anyway, where that comment came from was I was listening to this podcast by the Perrys.
Yeah.
I love the Perrys. They're a Christian couple, but they're different. Like when I say systematic analysis of things, and that's the type of thing I'm attracted to. I'm not attracted to thou shalt believe because thou shalt believe.
Yeah.
Like give it to me properly, like break it down. So they're very, very systematic in their approach. But they were talking about the wife was interviewing the husband and his friend, because they're going on this tour and they want to talk about manhood and like whatever that entails. And I was listening to that podcast. I didn't finish it when I posted "Men Are Good," because I think we need to challenge this whole status quo of men are trash. Shout out to Josh again, because one time a few years ago I actually posted that on my Snapchat like "Men are trash." Bro, Josh swiped up and gave me an earful for that comment. And I was like, please forgive me. But he schooled me on that. And he was like, "I'm so disappointed in you," which is big words from Josh.
Yes.
I never want to hear that again in my life. Please be proud of me. But anyway, nobody should ever say please be proud of me. That's concerning. Anyway, I'm deviating from the point. My point being, men, boys, black men, there was a crisis.
Definitely.
At the moment. And I think the root of the crisis, well, there's a lot of things, social media, pleasure-seeking behaviors, blah, blah, blah. But part of the problem is the lack of role models, people to look up to, the lack of discipleship, the lack of mentorship, the lack of good men as examples, the skewing of social media to just only display the horrible cheating, lying, going to jail, doing drugs. That's all social media displays.
Yeah.
I actually said to my sister a little while ago, 2 days ago, that the TV has systematically only displayed men in a very particular, specific angle. And I think even a lot of my negative opinion on men is actually, if I think about it, deeply rooted in what I've seen on TV. And of course, what I've seen in my personal life, but also what I've seen on TV. Like, when is the last time you opened a TV show that depicted a man, forget black, a man in positive terms, as good, honest, caring, loving? It's just not seen. You just don't see it.
Yeah.
It's just not on TV. It's not on the radio, and it's certainly not on the news.
Like, when that's like the image they portray, and that's kind of what they promote, it becomes then like, self-fulfilling like prophecy.
Oh yeah, it's a prophecy, yeah.
Because then like people then act that way, and then social media, and those girls that end up in those situations are usually attracted by those type of men.
Sure.
More likely to do that. So just a crazy cycle.
It's a crazy cycle.
And whereas if you actually know yourself, so say for example, if you slow down things, right? Because people like to jump stages. If you just slow down things, just respect yourself, then like you wouldn't give people opportunities to do that. But like they're like accountability, but it's really just people not knowing themselves. Like, and when you know yourself, like you know your worth, you know your values, then there's certain risk you won't take. You won't put yourself in certain situations.
Okay, you were really speaking to a mature 25-year-old man at the moment who is reading a self-help book and listening to podcasts that are for, development.
Right.
But the reality is that is not the case of everybody else.
No, it's not.
And
exactly.
as a pediatric trainee, what I'm seeing in ED is kids coming in at 14, 12, all these really young ages, dealing with stuff that they really shouldn't be dealing with stuff that is for grown men. Like, it's for a 30-year-old to be feeling this way. This overwhelming sense of needing to impress, do up all the energy, use hard drugs, all of this crazy stuff that these kids are doing. And the reality is, if you talk to a 14, 16-year-old, they don't see life as you just said. They don't care about self-respect. They certainly don't care about protecting their body and not damaging themselves. They're interested in the exact opposite.
Yeah.
How do you get the attention? And you teach, so you work with kids.
Yeah.
And you're trying to explain concepts to them like calculus. How do you get the attention of a 16-year-old man, boy, whatever you want to call him, to maybe, like, how would you approach it if you had a 16-year-old guy who's living wild? Yeah. Well, how would you try?
See, that's a different domain.
It's a different domain, but it's the domain I'm personally concerned about. That's my passion lies in the young people.
Yeah, because when it's education, but then like once we're done the grinds, what does the kid do? Go on Instagram or go on his YouTube, and then like the people he follows, they're doing like they're displaying those
bad behaviors.
Yeah, those characteristics, and then the kid thinks, because the kid in a way like looks up to them. But when we're humans, especially when you're young, you just want to like be attached to something. You just want to look up to something because. Why not? It's guidance, You just want to hang on to something. But if that's what appealed to you, like through Xbox to PlayStation, and then this guy is preaching this kind of stuff, like how you should act, blah, blah, blah. So the kid, then you're just absorbing that. Even like without you noticing, you're absorbing that, and then what you're likely to do then is start to like express the same things as well. So that's what I mean when it starts by like, we gotta be careful as a society where we like place these people, how we like rank these people, and then kids then will know like who to like look up to. So a lot of our problems is really just like we just cause them ourselves. It's like not that hard to solve, but it's the problem about it is there's a lot of money involved. Just like it's outside, it's like really outside like our control. Because like what people promote like social media, that's what I mean scares me because when you're assuming that's fast food, man. That's bad for you.
And it is fast food. It's created to be, observed quickly.
It tastes nice, but like you're not thinking of the. Well, basically, it's all about like a quick, gratification. Just like nobody wants
to read a book.
Yeah, to put the work and then get the long-term gratification. But just like the problem with quick gratification is that it only gets quicker. Then he only wants more and more and more. And so we can't even like pay attention. Like even myself, it's like sometimes it's hard to concentrate on one thing.
Yeah.
You just constantly like because we're so spoiled.
Yeah, I 100% relate to that. Yeah. I struggle big time with that.
Yeah.
Attention span is in the toilet, and 100% is down to everything at my fingertips. Scrolling. And now when I have to sit still and gather all this information, it's like
Yeah.
The brain be doing
That's why you're laughing. Everything is fast.
Quick and rapid. Sometimes I'm in meetings and I'm like, y'all don't see the time.
No,
y'all don't see the time.
We don't practice patience.
We do not.
It's just because we're so used to having everything. Have you ever tried to like queue like outside like your Lidl or something? You know when the queue starts to get slightly bigger, you start to panic. You're like, this is bad service. But then you just realize like, nah, I'm just really impatient.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
And it's just dangerous. All of that.
It's dangerous.
Emptiness is dangerous.
What I'm hearing you say in relation to the question for young people is what they consume.
Yeah, that's when the older people comes in to give them like better example.
Yeah.
But then
it is our responsibility.
Those corporate or whatever people endorse that, choose them like what kind of like content they want to make available to young people. And what they should value, because kids just like to follow.
I never thought about
that. Because everyone's trying to fit in. Well,
I don't remember ever feeling that way. Did you feel like fitting in?
To an extent, yeah. Yeah, I had a whole identity crisis because like,
Wow.
It's human. We are tribal. We need to belong in a tribe. That's the cause of everything. Everyone want to feel like you want to belong somewhere. And especially with boys are really competitive. You either wanna be, with the cool guys. You wanna stand out as well. So you just do things that you wouldn't normally do because you never really give it much of a thought. You just do it because that's your instinct working against you.
Yeah, it's really hard to reach kids because, well, they don't see life like you see life. But also they have, I don't know if I'm wrong, but I think they might have a limited capacity to genuinely take on board what you're saying. What you're saying to me right now sounds reasonable, sounds logical, makes sense. Don't watch it off if you don't want it to influence you negatively. But I feel like saying that to a 16-year-old and saying, if you want to be happier, maybe don't follow this guy.
That's
to them, I feel like it's such an abstract thing. They're like, yeah, no.
Yeah, that's when like they have to take responsibility at the other end. So say like the platforms or the people that deliver this content to the kids, the onus is kind of on them to see like what they want to make cool, because you can make anything cool, It's
marketing.
Yeah, that's the thing. But business is about profitability. Like TikTok are trying to make money. I'm not gonna show a guy reading a book or trying to make it cool. But I can make like anything so small and make it seem cool, and you're gonna do it anyway, even if you know it's actually not even that cool. But you're just gonna do it anyway. It's all because you just want to belong. At that age, you don't see life that way, but you just see it as a way of belonging. So I can use that and to my advantage and to show you cool stuff. And you know how you trick a kid to eat like the vegetables? It's kind of that way. And just make it, you just turn it into a game. You just make it fun.
Let's make responsibility fun.
Basically, that's my whole philosophy.
Yeah, that's a really lovely answer. And I think we took a bit of drilling, but we got there. And I don't think I was getting your point really when you were like, okay, it's the other people's responsibility. But it is, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But
we're the parents. The other people is the parents to up to under 16 before they become an adult. But we can because they're not really. They think they have a choice, but they don't really have much of a choice to what's out there. You just give them a PlayStation or Xbox, one or the other. You know what I mean? Yeah. How about you put that aside? This, or this.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
like, oh, I want that. It was like, oh, your friend was reading this book. You're like, oh, I want to read this too then.
Yeah.
So it's what we put in front of them to choose, the selection we give them.
The selection we give them, yeah. Wow, what an enlightening conversation.